Well, hello and welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to take you through the cost of living here in Thailand. I've been collecting data on an Excel spreadsheet for about 5 years. And obviously when you're planning trips or to retire or whatever the case may be, you could be 20, you could be 70. This is the kind of thing that will help you in your planning. So I take a look at it both from a cost perspective and also an income perspective. And I calculate some expense to income ratios so that it will help you guys decide if this is an affordable proposition for you to do in your travels. The other thing that I'm going to provide you on a second video is the cost of a girlfriend, because there is a substantial cost to it here in Thailand. I'm sure all of you have heard about it. But what I decided to do was compare it to the cost of what it might be to have a bar girl as a girlfriend versus a regular street girl as a girlfriend, not street worker. So hopefully all these videos will add up to some value to you, and let me know in the comments what you think. So with that, we'll just jump right into the spreadsheet. I have this broken into 2 or 3 sections. The first 2 sections are your monthly expenses and your monthly income. And then I take a look at the expense side. What are fixed necessity items? So for instance, water could change and become a little bit variable, but you still have to have it, so it's fixed in that sense. Variables are optional expenses, things that I could do without, or I could reduce drastically. So I wanted to make sure that we differentiated that, at least for my experience traveling, is pretty much necessary. Now I have a bunch of tabs going across the top. This is the Thailand budget. I track girlfriend expenses on a monthly basis. I recommend everybody does that has a girlfriend. And then I'm planning on the next video to take a look at the girlfriend expenses versus bar girl expenses, etc. And I think the outcome of this will be surprising for many people. And then of course I compare Thailand versus the Philippines. I started doing this 5 or 6 years ago with an old budget. And then if you get crazy monthly outflows, sometimes you have to reverse engineer where your money went. So I have an example of how I could do that. But I probably won't get into that too much on this discussion today. So let's take a look at the expense items. All right, the first that you have is rent. Last year it was $695. This year it's $609 per month. And if in an emergency, I could live in a place here which is suitable for less than $200 per month. Many of my friends do, especially, it's not a great room necessarily, but it's not bad either. So it's something that's an option. If you're on a tighter budget, you would want to consider that. Electric here is $75 per month. Last year it was extremely high, the highest I've ever paid in my life at $175. I have a pocket Wi-Fi, which I find in certain areas you just don't get the reception. The pocket Wi-Fi sometimes is a good workaround. I still keep my USA phone, all right, because I like to get my PIN numbers delivered directly to my phone, and that works very well. That's a T-Mobile plan. I have a VPN. I'm not too pleased with it. It's Surfshark, but it works. On certain times I'll use it, certain times I will not. And then I have a Thai phone, which is a fantastic plan through AIS. It's about $56 per year, and I know that's per year, and the average data usage, you could go up to 100 gigs per month of data. So it's just a massive plan. My insurance costs, I have Safety Wing, which is a great travel plan, which, believe it or not, is based in the USA, but it costs me about $165 per month. Medicare is about $175 per month. I have that now. I also self-insure for things like dental work. Medicines are just sort of routine stuff. I do use a lot of supplements for protein, etc. Water, about $15 per month. It's probably a little bit higher than that now. Because you buy a lot of that at places like 7-Eleven, they usually jack up the prices a bit. Food's an interesting situation. It's $170 a month now. Last year it was about $80, and the reason why it's gone up is I don't have a kitchen where I'm staying. It's just a room with some basic stuff. I actually bought a larger refrigerator just to keep going on that. I could live at the cost of food here. You can live very inexpensively if you eat like a Thai person for like $75 per month. There's no really expense on the 90-day report. Laundry, actually, it is more expensive. It's more than $15 per month. I'm going to say $30 right now because I do have it taken out. Where I was before, the laundry was included in the rent. We had a machine in the room, so I'll say $15 for that. So for the variable, this could be miscellaneous for protein, for camera equipment, backpacks, whatever the case may be. That averages $100 a month. A year ago, it was probably more like $150. Worst case, I could get down to $50 or less. Coffee, coffee gets expensive here, especially if you're going out with friends. So that I try to go only once a week. It costs about $65 per month. Sports equipment, if you like to work out or if you play golf, you can sort of work that one out on your own. Dining out, because I'm living where I am, it went from $150 per month up to $250. Entertainment, $500 a month down to $150 because I'm not going out as much. I'm happy where I am. Massage, the foot massages are like around $6, so I get about 2 or 3 a week. So 60, I'll tell you, it's probably more like 100 per month. Let's update that. And for a girlfriend, I'm just going to use 500 per month here, which is realistic. And then you have Thai girlfriend extras. So, for instance, if they need a dentist, you might have to help them out with the dentist. You don't have to, but it depends on your relationship. So that's what the girlfriend typically costs. It could go double that. I just give you a little advance notice on that, but we'll get into that more in the next video. For mass transit, we have taxis around here. I don't really use them. I have a motorcycle. So, but occasionally I need a taxi. It averages $30 just about anywhere you want to go here. Or 3 trips in a taxi here in Patong is going to cost about $10 each ride. And then gas is around $30 per month. Travel, I haven't traveled recently other than the Philippines, but I don't have anything planned for the next 2 months, so maybe a little bit around the island here. So I figured $50 for that. I figured $50 for Airbnb, and then of course if you need haircuts and stuff like that, those are your expenses. If you have a second rental, or if you have a place in America or wherever country you're from, you're going to have to consider that. If you have child support or any debt payments on credit cards, you also have to factor that in. So the total expenses that I'm projecting for next month, the month of May 2023, is just under $3,000 per month. Let's say you run into a situation where you lost your income, or you were found to live in a different situation where you had to reduce your expenses. What could you do here? So you could reduce your rent to $200. I think I discussed that earlier. Electric, you could really minimize. If you were to go to a smaller unit, you could get half that kind of a cost. You still want to keep your pocket Wi-Fi, but you could do without. It's not that much money. And also, by the way, that's a prepaid plan. I could not give up my US phone. All the other expenses pretty much stay the same, but you can live without Safety Wing because you're here. You can live without Medicare. However, self-insurance, you're going to need some. So let's put 50 in just to cover that. Medicines, you can reduce to 40. You just don't get the supplements that I mentioned before. Water, you could reduce that, but that's not a good idea, really. Groceries, you could reduce that. You can start eating, more locally. And for laundry, you just might do less laundry. That's all. So for miscellaneous, you probably would bring this down to 10 for that kind of an expense. Coffee, you want to treat yourself a little bit. Massage, you might go for 1 per month instead of a bunch. And girlfriend, you might cut that out entirely, or bring it down to a minimum. Mass transit, you might be using more. If you have a motorcycle that's paid for, you could actually, let's eliminate mass transit or bring it down to $10. For a motorcycle, assuming that you have one, you could have that for $10 just on the gasoline. It's kind of an iffy one to get into right here, but let's say it's $30 for gas. And then travel, you want some travel. All right, so you could actually get it down to $600, but that's just not living much of a life. I don't even know why you'd want to do that. But now let's take a look at the income side of this. And there's a lot of different types of income. So let's take a look at somebody who's retiring, who's about 70, and take a look at what they've got for an income. So for Social Security, let's say they had $2,000 in their pension plans or whatever the case might be. Let's say they're drawing $500 per month out of their IRAs. Let's say they're day trading. They're making $200 a month. I know a guy who's doing that actually. All right, cash savings. Let's say he's taking out $300, and let's say he's able to do some consulting. I know there are people that consult well into their 80s. So let's go ahead and assume that he's doing some consulting and making some side income on that. So what kind of an income does he have? He would have $3,300 a month in income, and to live in Phuket, in Patong, his expenses would be around $29.84 per month, and he'd be consuming approximately 90% of his income. And the way you calculate that is you take the income and divide it into the monthly expenses. Now, on the what-if scenario, if it's a situation where you're tight on money, I'll give you an example of somebody in that situation. This is a guy who saved some money. He retired early in the Philippines, and he met a person who got a lot of his money out of his pocket. So that left him short. But he was budgeting originally $833 per month for his retirement, early retirement, before Social Security kicked in. He thought that he could live for about that amount of money. But when he gave away the money for a car, then he ended up losing a lot of his income. So for $833 per month, under the what-if scenario, he probably would be able to afford it. He'd be using 77% of his income. But now let's say he gave away half his savings, or just a little bit under it. Let's say it was $500 per month. He'd be at $500 per month. I think I have to total that column up. And then he'd be at 128% of his monthly income. And he would not be able to do that. He would not be improving his situation. It wouldn't be as dire as it is, but that's definitely something that he'd be able to work out. So let's say, and we'll just give you the final example here. I have a friend who's day trading. He's making $400 a week, sometimes $500. So we'll give him $500 a week times 4 weeks. So that's $2,000 per month. He does a little bit of consulting as well. So we'll give it $2,300 per month. He would not necessarily live in Phuket, but he might be able to live in, actually I know he did this. He lived in Pattaya for about $400 per month. His electric was about that. He did not have Medicare. He did have a health insurance plan. He didn't self-insure. I don't know about his medicines. Groceries, food, that'd be about the same. Miscellaneous, probably 40. Coffee about right. Dining out about right. Entertainment. Massage. I don't think he had a girlfriend. Put 0 in. Girlfriend, actually put 0 in there. So now at $2,300 per month, by day trading with $2,000 per month and then consulting for $300 per month, he's able to live here in Thailand, in Pattaya, and use 77% of his income. And why is that number important? It's important because you have to consider, if you have an emergency, how much extra money do you have on hand? So in this case, if he were to have an accident, he'd be able to handle about a $500 bill if he's in the hospital. That's really what that comes down to. It's the amount of freedom that you have, or if you decide to go out and spend more money on entertainment or dining out. All right, so with that, I hope that this video helps you in your travel plans. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down in the comments below.